Hello everybody, Mr. Foggy Nights here. In the last episode, we covered the credits and the interviews up to Steve Kramer. We have 3 left. We're going to start with Rebecca Forrestad. Forrestad? This is Min-May, I take it.
I am Min-May. Completely. There's only one difference. I'm a lot sexier than Min-May. No, actually, I think a lot of people see Min-May, I know they either love her or they hate her. Usually they hate her because they think she's pretty shallow and, that kind of thing. But I think that she's basically innocent and she just wants to enjoy life and doesn't really want to get heavy with things, and she's also very young. And I think that when she had kids like me, she would probably be more grounded. But I think basically she's a real sensitive person. I remember the name. It was called It's You, and which was, I think the reason I liked it was a really sweet song, but mainly it was, I think, the only one that I wasn't flat in. No, I'm kidding. But it was a sweet song. I kind of got into that one. It was an extremely pleasant one because the person that composed the music, his name was Opie Minucci, was one of the sweetest, just most interesting people. He was sort of old-fashioned in a way. I mean, I kind of expected the music at first to be kind of more pop-like, and the stuff that he wrote was more like singing a Broadway kind of thing. And it was, I mean, he just made it so easy. I'd go over to his house and rehearse, and then we went into the studio and they had the music already pre-recorded, and we pretty much worked on it all day. But it was a great experience.
Okay, what she's talking about was when she played Min-May in the original Robotech series, but she voiced Izzy Randall for this one. Now we're going to go on to Tony Oliver.
Yeah, they fall into a couple of categories. As far as acting or voiceovers and doing this sort of thing is concerned, actually working on several different anime series right now. One of them is called Bandred, which I believe just came out on DVD and that. Another one is I just started working on Lupin the Third, which is coming out later this year. I'm playing the lead in that. And the third one is, I can't remember. As a director and a writer, working on Real About High School and GTO and a couple of other projects like that. I also have a company that I've started. We just put our first live educational puppet show in the schools in the state of Florida, and that just started up this year. And I continue to write and pitch projects, different kinds of television stuff all over town. Okay, well, Robotech moment. I was one of the creators and co-producer of Power Rangers, which is on here. And on my first, it was the second day on the set of the pilot. We had a couple new characters come on, and one guy was a gentleman by the name of Paul Schreier, who played the part of Bulk in the original series. And he's a rather large gentleman, and we were standing in line, breakfast line, before we started shooting for it. And just conversing, and he asked me what my background, so I started talking about it, and I mentioned Robotech. And he went completely crazy. He turned out he was a total Robotech fan, had stuff in his dressing room regarding Robotech, and I was there trying to get a show going, and he was asking me for my autograph. It was just very weird, surreal. We became great friends, actually. We still see each other frequently. It's a little surreal to be working on Robotech again. It's been a long time since we did the original. Although there's been a lot of fan things that have come up from time to time, conventions, by and large, it was something of the past. So to be here doing it again and to be working with all of the same cast members not a big testosterone-laden he-man of a fighter. He fights because he has to, or because he wants to live up to Roy's legacy more than anything else. Hero is kind of he's a fighting man. He's a tank commander. You know, Destroy's kind of like a tank. He's a tank commander. He's really in the grips of it, and he has an extreme hatred for the Zentradi. So that's always playing in the background. He doesn't want to be nice to the Zentradi that have come over to the human side. He wants them all gone. So it's very different. He's not a gentle guy. He's kind of forceful from himself.
Interesting. Now we'll go on to Melanie McQueen and then Cam Clark, and then that's it. I'm done.
Don't remember who called me for the audition, to tell you the truth, but I do remember that I felt I had gotten the part because when they called me in to read for Lisa, they showed me a sequence where she walks up to, I think, the front of the SDF-1 and gives a command of some kind, and she flips her hair. Well, I didn't even intend to do this, but I walked up to the mic and I flipped my hair as I walked up there, which was about her length at that time, longer. And I in the studio after that was like, oh, it was like they felt I had connected with her essence or something, which apparently had something to do with hair flipping, I guess. Well, I think it's the same kind of thing as any imaginative show that people connect with at some point in their life where, and that can be it can be when they're teenagers or it can be when they're older, where they need something that sets their imagination free and takes them to other worlds. I remember when I was a teenager, there was a show on called Dark Shadows, and this was a more kind of an occult kind of thing, you know, with vampires and witches and alternate dimensions, and I was just fascinated with that. It wasn't really very good at all, but I loved it because it really freed up, you know, your imagination. And I know the actors. I met a couple of the actors in Dark Shadows. They don't understand the appeal of Dark Shadows. I think a lot of times the people who are doing it aren't really connecting with it on the same level as people are watching it. But after they did it, then they understood the appeal. Same as after I did Robotech, I understood the appeal. It's like really, it's just a starting point for people to get their imaginations fired up and go from there. And a lot of times it'll take them even to a whole career, maybe in animation or something like that. It's wonderful to see where people will go with that initial thing that gets them excited.
No.
Yes, although until last night I wasn't sure how she was going to sound. I was like, okay, I need to come up with something that doesn't sound like Lisa at all, so I don't know if I can take her down. Anyway, but yeah, she's wonderfully psychotic, so, and totally different from the heroine mode, so I love playing villainesses. And animation is one of the few places I get to play villainesses because, I guess because of the way I look in person. My voice can do just about anything, but when they see me in person, it's like, oh, no, wait, no, she's not a villainess. She wouldn't hurt a fly.
You're damn right she's crazy. Here we go, Cam Clark. Then we're done.
Well, I actually didn't really have a choice in the matter. I was kind of born into business. My father was an actor, Robert Clark, who was like king of the B horror flick in the 1950s. The Hideous Sun Demon, Man from Planet X. My mom was a singer, one of the King sisters, which for you young people was kind of like the Andrews sisters. And the King sisters later had a television series called The King Family, which included all of us kids. And that we did a pilot in 1964, and then started on the air with the series on ABC that was in the summer of 64, and then the series started in the winter of 65. And just never learned how to do anything else. Went to art school in Los Angeles for a while after a little stint at college. And then when they wouldn't give me a scholarship, I said, well, forget this. I'm going to go make a living instead. And started doing voiceovers, which was kind of an accident, and never looked back, and never really pursued. No, I take that back. An on-camera career never pursued me. Well, like I said, spent my youth on television with the King family, singing and dancing and traveling around the country with my family, performing in live theaters and things. But as an adult, all of my time has been spent doing voiceover work. Cartoon-wise, Robotech was actually the first series that I was involved with, and then one of the most successful shows I was with was the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and I was Leonardo in that, Blue Mask, and also Rocksteady, who was one of the villains. One of my favorite roles was a couple of goofy little characters in a show called Eek the Cat. I played the Squishy Bears, which was a takeoff on the, what were they called? The Care Bears.
And one had this goofy little voice like this.
And the other one had this dumb voice. And we just lampooned the heck out of the Care Bears. Or, yeah, the Care Bears, right. And the Tick was probably one of my favorites, playing Deflator Mouse, who was a superhero, that was in love with his own shadow, but scared to death to do any crime fighting. So that was a real blast. When I first started working on Robotech, I was pretty green as an animation actor, and I had some prototypes from, famous actors, things like that I used to draw upon characters. John Travolta, Sylvester Stallone, and a little guy, Matthew Broderick, who has done quite well for himself. And he was kind of the basis for my vocal choices for Max Sterling. However, as a lot of you know, with anime coming from Japan, it has been voiced for the first time in Japanese, and so we as English-speaking actors aren't free dramatically to create characters as we might when we're doing American projects, where we're free to record the script first and then they animate to us. So it gets kind of tricky to get both worlds together, the acting nuances as well as the technical part of making English words fit into drawings that were drawn to Japanese language. I can't remember back that far. How did we? Golly, how did I know Robotech was getting popular? Well, I knew that, there were toys. I was on TV all the time, and anybody that was probably too small to ride this ride watched the show, and yeah, Cam, are you on the show? It sounds just like you, and oh, it's my favorite show, and thing that I just, it was on the street, man. I heard it on the street. It was a hit. I can honestly say, no. I've never wanted to be a fighter or a pilot. However, for my 16th birthday, when my family was on the road, we were in some little town out in the Midwest, and some guy had gone to see our show, and I guess on stage that night we announced that it was my birthday. And he had this old, stormtrooper plane, and he said, for your birthday, if you guys have any time, we'd love to take you up. And I got to tell you, that was a blast. I felt like Snoopy and the Red Baron in an open cockpit, doing loop-de-loops and, loop-de-loops, loop-de-loops and corkscrews. It was a blast. Goggles and leather jacket, the whole bit. close as I need to get to being a fighter or a pilot.
Come on.
Do I play video games? That's kind of like the story about the shoemaker's children having no shoes. I do all this work in video games like Metal Gear Solid, which I was told was a big hit, and I do not. I kind of went kicking and screaming into the 20th century, let alone into the 21st. I only got a computer this last fall, my first time, and I mean, when I was a kid growing up, they didn't have them, and as an adult, I've just never got into playing games myself, but I've certainly enjoyed working on them, and all the people that we've met working on the shows, the various actors, sometimes working with, you know, television stars or movie stars, but playing them, I don't think I have the dexterity needed for, my thumbs don't move like that.
Finally! God, it takes forever to talk. Okay, I'll have my conclusion video up fairly soon. And this is Mr. Foggy Nights, and wave goodbye to Robotech Battlecry, and... Oh, shit! I gotta show off something. I apologize for swearing. But when we finished the last mission, we got this design. Whoa. What the hell? There we are. YF-1R. It has not a lot of armor, very fast, very agile. Not a lot of missiles, but it's got good targeting. And we also unlocked the wolf paint design. Yeah, you can tell. Yeah, it's very great. It's great. I'll show off all the rest of the ones I haven't done. The Master Airman set, we have to complete that one. And this one, gotta beat all the bosses, then we get Flood City. Gold Cross. Southern Cross, we gotta complete the Gold Cross to do that. We get the Armored Veritech, which is different than the Super Armor. And the Factory Versus map. Complete Attrition. Okay, defeat Gorion a few times. I haven't done that. You get Malcolm Farm, I guess you kinda do. You get the Patriot paint design and City in Space for completing the Gold Nova set. Killing 50 male power armors using the sniper weapon, you get the stealth paint design. If you go back and look, that's why I was trying to snipe most of them out. Completing the game, yeah, you have YFR. Kill 50 scout pods, you unlock the female armor, which is Kiora's armor. Complete Party Crashers, you get Skull 1 paint design and Bursting Point versus map. And that's it. This is Mr. Foggy Nights. I will see you guys later.